been in debt, as the old folk could say, you just wait a while.
Wait a while. Your time will come.
Yeah, your time will come. And if you've never been in, just thank God, praise God that you never have to be. But I got something special that I want to just say to you this morning, Reverend Mcgirt. He is executive director, like I said, of credit repair education. And before he leaves, he's going to give you a myriad of numbers that you can contact him by way of the of his business. I made a crazy mistake one time of a creditor calling my house, and they said, may I speak with Mary, Mary Evans? I said, this is she. Reverend Greg, there's something wrong with that picture, ain't it?
Very much so. Very much so.
Could you give us a tip on what's wrong with that picture?
Be happy
Even
to.
now, even today, there's something wrong with that picture. Now, what's wrong with that picture, Reverend McGirt?
I tell you, that turned out sound like it turned out to be a collection agency that
Right.
they knew your name, but you didn't know their name.
That's right.
And
And they
sometimes
began to talk, and I said, and I found out it was a credit. Oh my God, what have I gotten myself into? And they wanted to go on and talk to me about a debt. They knew who I was and wanted to tell me all about myself.
and when you gonna pay.
That's
And
right.
do you know that you're behind on this and that, the other, and this year here, and
Even knew my social security
oh
number.
Lord, oh Lord.
I made a mistake. What did I do wrong?
Well, it could have been they had it from the bill, the actual debt. They might sometimes when they call you, they already have access to that information
Mm-hmm.
anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they have gotten so aggressive because they're put under pressure, just like salesmen. You got to get this money. The more money you collect, the more your commissions is, the more bonuses that you're entitled to. So they're not calling you to make you feel welcome.
Okay.
You're not calling you to invite you to a party.
But she sounded like she was.
That's the whole lure. That's the whole lure that of to make to make you feel at ease.
Mhm.
It's just like anything else. When you say, I can tell you from dealing with sales so much, you don't ever want a customer to feel like they got to put their guard up. Now, if I
Mhm.
had called you and said, "Look, this is Tony
Mhm.
with uh, A plus collection services," you
Mhm.
would have hung the phone.
That's
Or
true.
you would have said, "Listen, she's not here."
Yeah.
But if I said, "Mary, Miss Mary, how you doing today?"
Uh huh.
You sound like a wonderful woman of God. And then you go, you start blushing. Well, I am a woman of God.
Yes.
And then I said, well, you owe Capital One Bank $4,000,
Yes.
and you're 4 months behind. When can we get that from you? So now I know you who you are. You can't go back and say, she stepped out from. I've already disarmed you by finding out who you are. And
Mm.
I used to remember how when customers would come on the lot, and they used to always teach us, everybody got hot buttons, and those hot buttons meaning those are their vulnerable points that you can win them over. Some people like free stuff. Some people like to have their ego uh, catered to,
Mhm.
especially preachers.
Mhm.
Especially people who make good money. So they go through that same training that you have to learn what the hot buttons are for your clients to get that money back, paid back to them.
Mhm.
Then you
Mhm.
have some people, their family is their hot buttons. They're safe to their kids. They have shown on some news agencies how these collection agents say, look, if you don't pay this money, you're gonna be arrested. So you're thinking, if you're a young person with children, you got a family, you get scared. I don't want to go to jail. I'm gonna pay this. I got to do something. So, which that's against the law.
Right.
And hopefully we'll have time to cover that too. The tactics that go on now to that they don't even realize that they're breaking the law. Some of them do realize they're breaking the law, don't care.
Mhm.
So we try to make sure that people be aware of the tactics are out there.
So how should I? My conversation with them. How should I have answered the phone?
Well, being that it's a collection agency, you don't have to answer it at all. I would hope that every person that's listening by the sound of this show today, you at least have some access to call ID. And if you sometimes they'll call from an unknown number,
Mm-hmm.
they'll call from a private number. There are ways you can have on your line that your number will block private and unknown calls.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd have to hit like a code to unblock their number. So that way you can understand, you'll know who's calling you. So I would say to any customer, you're not obligated to answer the phone.
Mm-hmm.
You're not even obligated to pick up the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Let it go to voicemail, screen the call, if it and find out who is it that's calling you. And then some of them do what is called robocall.
Mm-hmm.
It's an automated system that will call you.
And sometimes those different numbers come up. It's not the same number
It's
that
not the
come
same
up.
number. And you know, if it's somebody not from the Bible study circle at church, you might need to let that go to voicemail and don't answer. So
Okay.
I always like to, I tell clients from time to time, one of the best or most safest procedures, you have to apply this old rule. I'm sure you've heard of it. An ounce of prevention is worth more than a pound of cure.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes if you do things that will prevent ever going out there and having to deal with, you're talking to somebody that has more information on you than you got on them. You don't have to worry about it.
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to, you know, you pick up the phone, hey Mary, how you doing? Oh, you sound like a wonderful lady there. How was your day doing? And you done felt like you could just share your whole life with them right then. Well, you know, my son, he just had his job, give him a raise, and then before you know it, you are talking to a stranger, but they already got your information anyway. They know your address. They know your, as you said earlier, your social security number.
Mm-hmm.
They know how much money you owe. They know your credit card number. They know your phone number. They know your cell number. And in some cases, they even know your friends and relatives, your references.
Okay. So I done got into this.
You got into
How do I back out of this? How do I get out of this?
One way you can get out of it is sending a letter to the connection, the collection
But I done
agency.
got in this conversation with this person here. I mean, she knows about me.
Mm-hmm.
So how do I get out of this conversation with her?
You can hang the phone up.
Just hang the phone up?
Just hang the phone up. There's no obligation for you to take a back seat in your own home to an outside call. A lot of people don't realize it. It's just like if somebody come knocking on your door, soliciting at the door, you under no obligation to open that door. I don't care if they're Jehovah Witnesses. They're just Jehovah on to the next house.
Okay.
You know, we see sometimes on the news how people, especially senior citizens, especially people that live alone, people who live out in very rural areas, they get robbed or get took advantage of because they feel they have an obligation to be courteous or kind to somebody they don't even know why you didn't ask them to come over your house.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't invited.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't ask them to call you. You weren't even expecting that call. It's just like somebody, you pick up the phone and they may say, hi, I'm John with cystic fibrosis and we're raising money. Click up.
Mm-hmm.
You can hang the phone up. You don't have to even say another word.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, let me tell you something else I found out. Then I'm gonna let you get into what you do. And this happened just recently.
Okay.
And this wasn't pertaining to me; it was pertaining to my son.
Okay.
And my son does not live with me.
Okay.
Okay. So this particular credit service called my house, and I've been seeing the phone, the ID come up. Mm-hmm. So I finally decided that I was gonna answer him. So
you made up your mind.
Yeah, I didn't decide I was gonna answer. I thought maybe it might have been somebody that was gonna offer him a job, or gonna say that, you know, maybe he called and he said that he wanted to go to this school or whatever, da 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 da. And so I answered it, and so she said, so I think it was a man. Yeah, it was a man, and so they said that they were looking for my son, and I said, well, he doesn't live here, and I did tell the truth. He doesn't live there. He doesn't live here. He lives wherever. So they said, okay, thank you. So what I did, I turned around and called on my cell phone, and so I said, I just called this number. I said, what kind of business is this? And the young lady or whatever person it was said that this is a customer relations business.
A Customer relations
Yes,
business.
that's what exactly what I said. A customer relations business. I said, well, what do you all do? She said, well, we just, didn't tell me that was it was a debt
Collection
collection business.
agency.
Agency told me everything, but that right there. And so I said, okay. So then I went on the internet. I was sitting at the computer at that time. So I went on the internet and I looked it up. It was a debt collection agency. So I called back again, got me Miss Smarty, because I'm trying to find out. I'm learning some of the
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you've been telling me
yeah,
about
yeah.
off the air.
Knowledge is power.
There you go. So they answered the phone again. I said, I just called your agency and your agency, and I asked the individual, uh, what was their business, and they told me that it was a customer relation business, and I said I looked it up on the internet, and you are a debt collection agency,
Full fledged.
full fledged. And then I read all the negative stuff about this debt collection agency.
Wow.
And then there was a blog on there where some person wrote on there that said that, let me tell you how to stop these people from calling your house. You put them on notice right then. And so I told that person right then, I'm putting you on notice right now. According to whatever the law that there is that's written out, FCPDA
That's
or
right.
whatever it
That is
is,
correct. Fair Credit Reporting Act.
that what it is.
FCPA. Fair Credit Reporting Act.
That what it is.
FCRA, excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
FCRA, Fair Credit Reporting Act of 1971.
What? Okay, that's it. And I was reading it off of their site.
That's a creed that we live by.
That you will no longer call
That's
my
right.
house in reference to
Per
this.
your rights.
That's
Under
right.
the FCRA of 1970.
Because the person that you're calling for does not live
Doesn't
in
even
this
live
house.
there. So they had no business calling your house in the first place. Knowledge is power.
And I got that from you when we were talking about some stuff.
In one of some previous shows.
And I hope that the people that listen to us and listen to you know that they do have rights.
You got rights. You are not under any obligation to be subject to somebody calling your house at 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, during dinner, calling your cell phone, sending you harassing mail. You're under no obligation that you got to deal with that.
Telling you that they're gonna
Arrest
send you to jail.
and send you to jail. And you already stressed out how you pay your regular bills. You gotta pay light bill, rent, mortgage, car note, and then here's somebody. You know, it's not a crime to be in debt. You don't really. That's not a criminal crime. Now, that's an obligation. And you have a responsibility to pay. It's a legal and binding contract. But if you fall a month, I don't want to sound like, let me be clear to the listeners. I'm not excusing you to stop making you pay more. You're falling behind. But what I'm saying is, when somebody like a collection agency tries to infer or imply that they can send the sheriff to your house to lock you up just because you're 30 days or 90 days or 120 days or more behind, that's a lie. That's against the law. And you're under no obligation to sit there and be put through that buffoonery. So I'm glad that, if nobody else, the host of the show, you're taking in what we're giving. And that's the beautiful part that I thank God for what God has given me to empower people and educate people that there is a way out. There's a better way. And you can be empowered and know what your rights are.
That's right.
And you have to be able to listen and understand that if you take it in, you can rebuild your life.
That's right. And another thing, they can't curse at you either.
And they can't curse at you. They cannot curse at you. They can't threaten you. They can't talk like the lady we had. One of the callers came through on one of the last shows and was talking about how the lady asked her, well, how are you paying your bills? That's none of their business. That's what ask you stuff like that. It's none of your business.
Yep. So right, that brings to mind to me when I first went to Atlanta, I was
Mm-hmm.
working with one of the largest banks in Atlanta, CNS Bank. It's no
Mm-hmm.
longer CNS Bank,
Okay.
and I started there as a collection person in the credit card department,
Mm-hmm.
and I had another. It was another lady that was working there, and as a matter of fact, she and I became friends,
Mm-hmm.
and she was a very aggressive collector.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was calling this lady, and the lady was telling her, "Well, I don't have the money." She said, and so she said, the collector said to her, "Say, well, you made the bill. You knew you shouldn't have made the charge or whatever." Da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
The lady said, "Well, you can't get no blood from the turnip." The lady said, "We didn't get a turnip, no credit card." I said I could not believe that she said that, and the manager was there. I mean, he heard the conversation, but I thought that was very inappropriate for her to say that. We didn't get it. We didn't get a turn up a credit card.
But that agent was ready to go toe to toe.
Yeah,
And
that was
sometimes you
very
have
crazy.
someone that are very aggressive.
Very aggressive.
So I mean, because they're like I said earlier, many times they're, no doubt. And I'm just giving a scenario.
Mm-hmm.
There are a bunch of callers that are in a room, and they have a scoreboard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And every time they get somebody that will, like, they may say, well, look, the person that gets the most commitments or promise to pay,
Mm-hmm.
you get a $500 bonus.
That's right.
So in that room,
Mm-hmm.
the pressure's on.
The precious.
I gotta beat Mike. I gotta beat Tony. I gotta
Mm-hmm.
beat John,
Mm-hmm.
and get the most promise to pays and most
That's right.
people to say, look,
It's
well, I'm
okay.
gonna go ahead and mail in something.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not out there to be nice to you.
No, that's
They're
right.
under no obligation.
And they themselves, I even read that they themselves are under pressure
They're
because
under pressure.
they got bills that they've got
They
to
gotta
pay
pay.
too, and they need that job.
They need that job.
And that employer puts them under a lot of
Exactly.
pressure too. Well, they got to go.
They gotta go because you're not effective. You
That's
know.
right.
And I know a lot of the ministers and pastors that are maybe listening. If you have a congregation, or if you are a community leader or whatever, you owe it to your followers, you owe it to yourself, you owe it to the community. Get a workshop booked that we can come in and we cover this stuff. This is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
We come in, we do a question and answer session. After we disperse the information, we give them the facts. This is not what somebody believes or
Mm-hmm.
thinks.
Mm-hmm.
These are the facts involving your rights
Mm-hmm.
to fair credit, to be treated right under the law, under the Fair Credit Act of 1971,
Mm-hmm.
on top of the Federal Trade Commission,
Okay. That's
on
deep.
top of the FCC
Mm-hmm.
commissions,
Mm-hmm.
on top of the regulations that are given by the Better Business Bureau, on top of the Attorney General's office guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
And people, you owe it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening out there, I'm not talking about a concert. I'm not talking about a revival. I'm talking about reviving your credit, reviving your financial future.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wanna say this to everyone listening. If you've been paying any attention to the news lately, we as a country are facing some rough times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's gonna take some financial savvy,
Mm-hmm.
some financial knowledge,
Mm-hmm.
some education on how to manage your money
Yes.
and your credit to survive.
Mm-hmm.
We can no longer depend on the government.
Mm-hmm.
As you've seen in the news, a lot of this stuff that people have been depending on, these entitlements for years and years,
Yeah.
they're trying to cut it and do away with
Right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
We had an issue maybe about a month or two ago. Once the new governor got settled in, people that were dependent on Medicaid or
Mm-hmm.
Medicare from group homes,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
There's a struggle now trying to find a
Mm-hmm.
place to go. There's one place down in Cumberland County. The lady had been operating an adult daycare
Mm-hmm.
for seniors that are
Mm-hmm.
or adults that are unable to take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
She's been operating out of her pocket
Mm-hmm.
because of that issue that's going on where
Mm-hmm.
they cut it.
Mm-hmm.
The donation that she had got, that money has ran out.
Mm-hmm.
And she's got about maybe 15, 20 adults. They don't know what's gonna happen between now and maybe July.
Mm-hmm. And this was a service that these people desperately
They
needed.
needed. They were dependent on it.
Mm-hmm.
And the families were dependent on it because they felt safe knowing that number one, the lady was providing a Christian, clean, safe,
Yes.
stable environment
Yes.
for the people's loved ones to be there.
Mm-hmm.
that didn't have it. But now the curtain's been pulled on that, because what is happening, a lot of the municipalities are just like some of us. The money's not there. When you lose jobs, you lose your tax base. And the government runs off tax dollars.
That's right.
And a lot of the state and the local municipalities are not like the federal government. They can't print money. They can't print money.
That's right.
Somebody got to pay the bill. And when you're in an area, just like I believe it was Rayford that lost the big chicken production, the turkey plant. You know, people out of jobs.
That's right.
That's about 1,000 people.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
With no job.
That's right.
And you know, you can't live off unemployment forever. So workshops like what we provide, credit repair education workshops, seminars, allows people to see how to, sometimes what you have to do, regroup, reorganize, reorganize your thinking, and see what you're entitled to, and know that you're able, by under the law, to have that negative information removed from your credit.